Hey guys, Bradley Burdett here with the roll call. This is your 5 minute round. I'm sitting here on the beach enjoying the sunrise and thought I would hit you guys up. I want to talk this morning about the goal of jiu-jitsu. Submission is the goal of jiu-jitsu. I understand we have competitions. I understand sometimes we're trying to win those based off points, etc. But the goal of jiu-jitsu is to submit your opponent. Whether you're training or whether you're in competitions, we should always be attacking the submission. And why do we do that? Prepare for a real fight. Prepare for a real fight. If you're on the street, there are no points, right? You want to get to that dominant position. You want to put your opponent in a submission, not to hurt them, but to do exactly what it says, to submit them. Put them in a position where they have to submit to you and your control. So we have to attack the submission. We need to be training for that, right? On the street, subdue your opponent, force him to tap, fight's over. It's our responsibility, though, as grapplers to do this in our training, to do this in competitions. Don't just sit there in a dominant position and feel good about your points. The other side of this, though, is we must learn to tap, right? If we're the ones getting submitted, we have to learn to tap. Why? Well, it's our responsibility to avoid injury, keep ourselves safe. And I see this a lot in our kids' classes, not to pick on the kids, but they'll get to a dominant position and then they'll sit there because they're in control and they're happy about that. And then the other side of it is when they do attack a submission, their partner doesn't understand that they must tap and the arm's just getting bent all kinds of ways. But, not to just pick on the kids, the adults are guilty of this as well, especially new grapplers. And the difference is that new grapplers are hungry for the submission. Man, they're like sharks in the water, seeing blood. You put a strong, athletic white belt on the mats, and they are dangerous. And I don't mean in a good way. Be ready to tap, right? If you're young and you don't know what you're doing, be ready to tap. They're coming for your limbs. And the reality is that as hungry as they are for the submission, they're just as hard-headed when they're supposed to tap. And they're the ones that are getting submitted, right? They don't want to tap. Most preventable injuries happen with new grapplers. And they're either cranking something or they're not tapping soon enough, right? What's the point of all this? Whether it's ignorance or ego, and it could be either, and regardless of your age, tapping out is a learned behavior. We got to learn it. We got to be taught to tap out and to tap out before the injury. Now, I'm not talking about tapping too early, right? There's another side of that where you learn, okay, I can hold on, the first sign of, okay, this is about to go to an armbar, I'm going to tap out. No, that's not the key either, but you have to tap out when you know you're done. And that's a learned behavior. It is taught. We tend to think that that you're weak if you tap, especially early, right? Our ego says, what are people going to think if I tap to this? So again, we have to be taught to tap. It's okay to tap. It's encouraged to tap, actually. We got to keep our limbs and our ligaments and our bones healthy. Tapping is part of the game, part of life. Go to any tournament and you'll see, and I hate to say it's probably here, multiple injuries due to grapplers not willing to tap early enough or at all. But the sad part is that injuries from not tapping aren't necessary. These injuries, they can be avoided. Your coach, your professor, your training partners probably have told you multiple times, tap, you should have tapped to that. I had you. And not only that, your body's feeling it, right? I mean, you go home the next day and you're like, wow, I should have tapped to that. And we've talked a lot about on this channel that BJJ mimics life in so many different ways. And tapping out is a prime example. You know, society is telling us, especially as men, to not show weakness, push through. Nothing can stop you. Don't ask for help. And the reality is that's just not true. Anyone who has lived long enough, especially as an adult, knows that this is a flat out lie. We all need help. And tapping out does not show weakness. It's actually a sign of wisdom. And we see this in the life of Paul, all throughout the New Testament and the books that he wrote, but specifically in 2 Corinthians 12, we see that Paul is going through something extremely difficult. The Bible actually says it was a messenger of Satan. So, this is serious stuff. And his response was not, I'm just going to pull myself through this. No, he actually prayed. He asked God to help. God, take this away. I can't handle this. It's wisdom. The easiest prayer you can ever pray is, God, help me. And so, but this was God's response. He didn't take it away. He actually told Paul, hey, I am strong when you're weak. When you recognize your weakness and you call out to me for help, that's when you become strong, because it's not in your own strength. Now you're bringing me into the mix. So when we are when we recognize our weaknesses and we say, God, I can't do this, I have to have some help, we're actually saying, God, help me. That's when we're stronger. So you're telling me to be weak? Is that what you're telling me, Bradley? Be weak, show weakness? Yes, it's okay. You're not a weak man if you ask for help. Just as in BJJ, you're not weak if you tap. We all have to tap. And the reality is, if your weakness and my weakness means that God is strong in us, then 100% yes. Assume weakness. It's a sign of humility. It's not a sign that you're a weak man. That's society's lie to you. And as followers of Christ, we're meant to be different. We're meant to be different from society. Humility, trusting God, relying on Him, surrendering our lives to Him. Men, have you surrendered lately? Or is your life one scenario, one situation, one fight of pushing through until you make it through? Worn out, beat down, hurt, injured, but you made it through. Is that your life? And how's that working out for you? This may be prophetic for somebody listening right now. Stop pushing through. You're worn out. And God is saying, come to me, tap out, and just surrender. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. Jesus actually tells us in Matthew 29, verse 9, that if you cling to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for me, you will find it. A little bit of a longer video today, but I really felt like it was on my heart to tell this, to share this message. Obviously, I like to bring in the BJJ aspect of it, but I really believe that this word is for some men out there today. Stop pushing through. Be a wise man. It's not weakness. This is Bradley Burdett. The roll call. Heed the call.